we're here with Dave Warhol. We're going to be talking about a new Intellivision remake that they've got coming out, following in the shoes and the heels of two games that they've just released. And we'll let Dave kind of tell you guys about what these games are, where you can find these games, and what the future is for maybe the possibility of more of these Intellivision remakes coming out. So,
okay, well,
tell us what you guys got going on.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. Well, as you mentioned, we've come out recently with two games for the Sony home platform, which are Astro Smash Gen2 and Shark Gen2.
Yep.
And the idea behind these games is that we're taking the original gameplay from the classic games and then just updating them, not reinterpreting them in like 3D with a plot line or something like that, but just taking the core game mechanics and just extending them. And then updating the graphics to be a little more interesting. So they've got a very retro look to them and a retro feel to them, but there's much more to them than just the original 4K or 8K games that were originally released. So we have the two out, and the third one in our pipeline now is Night Stalker, which is another one of the most popular. So we have Night Stalker Gen2, we're calling it, in our workshop, and we're developing that, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how we're working on that, what it's looking like, things like that.
That'd be great.
So I guess in this case for Night Stalker, what we're adding to it is multiple mazes. The original just has the one maze, and of course that builds certain strategies about how the robots behave in those mazes. You kind of get to know it. But now, after a certain number of robots, we move you into a new maze with different strategies or different kind of high concepts and things like that. And in addition, we have a few more types of robots, and the AIs are tweaked a little bit differently. And then as far as weapons go, instead of just having a single 6-shot gun, you can have guns that with higher number of bullets and a kind of a higher clip or something like that. So maybe you got 12 bullets or something like that. So the graphics are still kind of retro, but taking advantage of what the new platforms have to offer. And we originally were inspiring our robots by inspired by popular robot
likenesses.
Yes. Yeah, thanks. Prototypes, but you probably have a little fun recognizing who they are and how those work. So, as far as the product line goes, this will be our third for the Sony home platform. And our intention next is to be taking these things to different devices. PC, which is kind of a natural because you can play a lot of console games there, and iOS is an obvious choice for us. But then there's the question of the hand controller interface, because Intellivision games are really designed for very immediate feedback, and the kinds of games that you're seeing, like with the iOS with the touch screen, and say like the Wii, it's not quite as responsive as you would get. So at the one point for the audience, it's an obvious choice to bring them onto mobile platforms and tablets, but for the interface, we get to rethink them again, and so that's kind of where we are. Once we get Night Stalker out, then boom. We'll take those 3 games onto another platform after that. Then we'll start adding to our library with a 4th or 5th game.
Do you think you guys will add like the iCade support? Right. I mean,
that's an excellent peripheral.
Yeah.
That would just make it boom easy like that. Except for the fact that probably only 1% of the people have iCades.
Right.
But we can support the iCade, and it'll be an obvious choice. Yeah. But we want to solve it for everybody. Solve that thing for everybody.
Yeah, I know there's coming out with a lot of other handheld type controllers now for it too. So, do you have to physically program it for each different type of controller, or is it just sort of like the iCade? You got the joystick and you got the buttons, and now I think there's I think they have the iCade Mini now, and there's other people making devices that your phone slips in with that. So is it the same?
Each peripheral, you do need to contemplate each peripheral. I don't believe there's an Apple standard for peripherals that would then require if you write for one, you write for all of them.
Right.
Now, if the working for the peripherals would anything that just had a left-right joystick and a finite number of buttons, that would be trivial then to add a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th device, because the programming would just be there to do that. And actually, those would be the ones that we could adapt to easily. It's when you've got more, kind of touch screen control.
Yeah.
Let's take Astro Smash, for example. Move the base left or move the base right. Okay, now how does that really work on a pad? Do you touch where you want the base to go and it moves in that direction?
Yeah.
And if so, then you got to touch someplace else for it to go back. If you think about that, that is not as immediate. It's just do. So then we just put a little thumb controller on there, and then the tactile feedback isn't as good. And I mean, tilting it isn't going to work. It's just the response. So. But Shark on the other hand, we've got some good ideas there where you can either flick the fish in the direction you want to go, or you press where you want it to go, and it kind of goes to your finger. So that one seems a little more natural to me. How you might be able to.
So you got to design it around the touchscon first and foremost. Obviously.
Exactly,
and then anything else would be icing on the cake if you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because not to go to another franchise, but I thought Kaboom would be great to be on the handheld device because you can move the paddles back and forth. It doesn't work so well. There's still a delay. I mean, it's like there's nothing good as the original hardware. It never will be.
Yeah,
but
and the hand controllers. I mean, the PlayStation Home works well because you've got that PlayStation controller, which contemplates that kind of immediate action. And I know your audience demands stuff that's not sluggish and it's a lot of fun. And so we're not going to do it until we've got the right solution for them.
Yeah, well, I've played Astro Smash and Shark a lot, and everything about those games is just perfect.
Mm-hmm. You're saying the Gen 2, you mean?
The Gen 2.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, obviously the originals, but Gen 2. Yeah, have you just retained the core elements of the game, just the fun, simple gameplay that everybody remembers, but just the additional, just basic stuff that you would normally put in a game. The power-ups and the additional enemies and stuff.
Right.
And I know Keith and I were talking about it at lunch about how the speed of it. You kind of match the speed of the original.
Right. If you play it on simple, we started off with the kind of exactly the same. We went to the source code. We actually have the source code of the original thing from 30 years ago, looked at the constants to see the rate at which the rocks fell and the frequency with which they fell, and that's where we started you off. But to then deviate from there based on the new rules of gameplay and how long an experience we want you to have. 3 difficulty levels, which is new. Oh, this is interesting. The old difficulty levels just be like, do you want the game to run in slow motion? And it would do exactly the same thing it normally would do in slow motion versus the regular speed. But what we've come up with here now, we have different tuning tables. So the gameplay plays at full speed on easy, medium, and difficult, but they plays with different tuning variables just to get you into the higher levels quicker in the game.
Yeah, so now what is, do you have any idea when Night Stalker is going to be available?
It's going to be a couple months till we get it into Sony, and then they've got a couple week process to then get it into the storefront. What we have now with Night Stalker is that we've got the game up and running, and maybe we can take a look at that in a little bit. The hero's running through the mazes, and we have multiple mazes, and we have a few prototype robots moving around. And so right now we're at the point where the game is up and running, and it's kind of I would call it somewhere between a first playable and an alpha. All of the features are in, but there's a lot of tuning that needs to be done. And if you think about Night Stalker, I mean, he's got bullets, right? But the bullets still move relatively slow compared to the running speed. And so we're starting again, like we did with Astro Smash, we're starting with that kind of characteristic of a slow-moving hero and slow-moving bullets. And we're getting that to feel right. And there's just a couple of tweaks and tunes we need to get to before we've recreated the original feel.
Right.
And then we've got everything in place to then say, okay, this level, let's speed it up a little bit more. This level, let's speed it up again. This level, let's speed it up again. And so that's right where we are. And we have an interesting authoring technique, which I hope we'll also get to show you, where the entire game is really, all the tuning is done in Excel, spreadsheet program. Our maps are designed in a spreadsheet, and the bullet types we have are all just spreadsheet constants. And this is extraordinarily valuable because a game tuner can just sit there and play the game for a while, and they say, I would like this to be a little faster. And they just open up an Excel file, change a number, save the file, and then they're playing the game and go through. Now, we never really had tools that powerful at Mattel. The turnaround times could be extraordinarily drawn out.
Sure.
So it's these things are a blast to develop, given the kind of the turnaround, the immediacy of the turnaround time.
Great. Well, hey, why don't we take a look at Night Stalker Gen 2?
Okay.
So here we are, taking a look at Night Stalker Gen 2. We'll let Dave give us kind of a rundown of what's happening.
Okay, yeah. This is the first time anybody anywhere has seen this game in in its running form. So
awesome.
So you guys have the scoop. Okay, standard title screen, logo, and we're just going to get you right into the gameplay. So we have a few different graphic sets in the game. First one starts off with these rocks. We have kind of like an icicle kind of thing. You'll notice we still have our bunker with the guy. He's going to, there, okay, back in the bunker. And you're going to see these green boxes around all of our objects. This is just so we can manage the tuning a little bit better. Those are our collision boxes. So whenever a bullet or something like that hits one of these boxes, it then registers as a collision.
Okay.
And this just allows us to kind of identify, as we make it more difficult or easier, where we are with the process.
Sure.
In this case, if you shoot the bat underneath, it's going to register as a collision, even though it doesn't. But that just makes the game fair. And the same is true of the guns there. These little dots here are teleportation points for the robots. In the original game, the robots always came in the same corner. And then that allowed a strategy where you could kill one and you sit down in 5 and go boom, 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 boom. Well, now, with these different teleportation points, the robots will start any number of places. There is a pattern. So if you follow the pattern, you'll know that it's like the first one goes here, the second one comes in here, the third one comes in here, the fourth one comes here. So to the attentive player, they'll be able to kind of say, oh, the last robot came in here, so the next one's going to come in here, kind of go in and prep. So you can still do that. Oh, I'm going to nail them as they come in.
Yep.
But
so they'll come in at different times.
They come in as soon as you kill one.
Yep.
Another one comes in.
Okay.
And the way we've got it designed is we have, I won't really call it a level boss, but we have a final robot. After you kill a certain number of robots on any level, the final robot comes in, and then you have to kill that one. And when you kill that robot, then it moves on to the next level. So it's not really, doesn't have that much kind of level boss stuff, but it kind of represents what a level boss might be. All right, so these robots behave pretty much the same way as the other Night Stalker robots do, which just randomly pick a direction anytime they're at an intersection. But we've got smarter and smarter robots that do some other seeking based on your position. Of course, I got to go in and get my gun, and to do that, there we go. And now I've got blah. The bullet effects are a little graphic at this point in time. But okay, so I'm getting guys, I'm shooting them. There, let's go up and get that guy, kill the bullet. And I've got one shot left. Now, in this game, I'm not sure in the original if the guns showed up. I think you shot all 6 bullets, and then
it showed up.
And then it showed up. And now we let you reload before. There we go. Got the spider. Now these particle effects aren't final by any means. Oh, and you're taking out bullets there with your own shots. That guy. Okay, now the possible. Boof. You see a little.
Yeah.
Keith has requested that we remove that particular bloody effect from. We'll tune that up a little bit. But
Are you gonna make it green?
well, the human, it's for the human.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I might be close enough to get my ultimate robot out here. We're still playing with how many robots you need to kill in order for that to happen. And so I got 2 bullets left. Let me go for the gun. Oops. Didn't need to do that. Let's anticipate this guy's here. Here we go. Okay, now there's our ultimate robot. If you'll notice in the upper right hand
mercy.
corner.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys are Battlestar Galactica fans out there. Oh! If any of you guys are Battlestar Galactica fans, but they had a particularly yup-a-hoo. Yeah.
Oh.
They had a particular a robot of notoriety in that program, which inspired us to create a. Well, that's only a bat. Come on, I've got to get my gun. No, game over. So this robot was waiting for me. As soon as I hit her once, she was going to start moving through the matrix and pursuing me. That's a robot where the AI is such that it seeks you out in the game.
Yeah.
So now you've seen the game while it's being played. I'm going to fast forward, I think I can do that to another maze.
Oh,
okay, so here's the second maze that you're going to find. Now, we haven't fine-tuned the arrival points or anything like that with the actual layout of the mazes. I guess we've changed the mazes without the layout points. But here, the bunker's up here in the corner. You'll see that's going to play a little differently when the robots kind of all approach you from one side instead of another. And and I think all of these subsequent levels only have one robot, 2 spiders, 2 bats, and 1 spider. Like I said, we're waiting for the to get the gameplay and the tuning of the first one. So, okay, you're going to come down here, robot? Okay, there you go. Bye-bye, and there you go. And there I go. Okay, next maze. Okay, so here's the different kind of background graphic pattern.
Yep. And how many different mazes are you planning on?
We have 10 mazes now. This is a little more colorful, kind of Carlsbad Caverns. Bunker over here. We're being pretty nice with the gun, starting right there. Yep. Next maze. Some of these mazes are a little more symmetrical. You see this one has like the high concept of lines coming through it this way and longer spaces on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, and this is one where the symmetry is like here and here and here and here. And here's another one where you can see that there's really a pattern that kind of permeates the whole gameplay. Grab my gun. Let's just take out somebody for fun. And another thing that's interesting is that we haven't really contemplated what the what symmetrical gameplay patterns really do to the gameplay. So that's going to be fun. Oh, here's my robot adversary. Okay, she's coming after me now. And yep. When I take her out, she's stuck in a web. When I take her out, oh, I got no bullets. Okay, next level. Yeah, again, this one is going to play, this is such a kind of a, there's no long corridors broken up by, so it's going to play entirely differently than any other Night Stalker ever before.
Yeah, that's great.
And the inspiration behind these things. So I think this is our original one here. Okay, and another thing that might be fun to do is take a look at the development environment that we have here, and for that you probably want to take a look at this one. So I don't know if you want to reposition it. This is the PC.
This one I might just kind of do these.
Well, so what we've got here is, this is going to be really easy to see with the mazes. What we have here is just plain old Microsoft Excel with a bunch of formulas that are creating the different levels. So you'll notice, I guess, this is that first level that we're in. We got our bunker in the middle here, which is represented by these numbers. And then these black things are where we have the corridors and the walls and the obstacles. And the green squares, blue squares, and pink squares represent where the robots appear, where the guns appear, and where the bats and spiders appear. And then right below it we have a table that says, well, geez, how many bats do we want? How many spiders do we want? And then how many simple robots do we want? And then the ultimate robot. So the formulas, even though we draw it with a kind of a graphic thing over here, the formulas turn it into these numbers that our program then interprets into the thing. So here's our second maze, and if you remember our second maze, we had it up in the upper left-hand corner and some longer corridors. So this is really nice because when the designer says, oh man, this corridor is just killing me here, they just kind of go doot doot doot, and immediately it changes the characteristic of the maze, and opens it up for tuning. Let's find that one that was like wide open. Here we go, like this. Somebody may say, this is just too hard this way, and they're going to say, I'm going to close this off here, and because I'm doing it symmetrically, I'm going to close it off here. Then we'll open that, and then you save this file, reload the dev kit, and
instant change.
And
wow, that's incredible.
Okay, and so take a look at our enemy table here. These are characteristics for each thing. I got my bat, spider, the simplest bot, the transition robot, seekers, avoiders, and we give them any name we want, and we say how many bullets does it take before they die, or how many bullets can, let's hear, what's the speed of the bullets that they shoot, what's the range, the distance between you and the player that they start to fire, and a bunch of different characters, like which search algorithm are they going to use. We have a bunch of different ones. How many hit points does it take to kill them? Is this an invisible robot? We just set it like that, and then it'll aggregate the and what's the score and what are the graphics that we use. So again, just tuning the numbers in here, and then we have a list of the different kind of guns, the graphics that they have, the number of bullets that they have, things like that. And let's see here. Then our level tuning tables, and this pretty much says which maze are we going to use, what graphics set are we going to use, how fast does the player run, how many robots until it's ended, and the number of enemy bullets that can be out at once. And you'll just see a number of table after table after table after table after table. So our level tuners, once we're happy with level 1 and that speed and all that, we just start typing in numbers and playing, and typing in numbers and playing, and typing in. And you wouldn't happen to know any people who would want to kind of play this game for us, would you?
I think we could find a few for sure.
Well, the Los Angeles people get your emails.
Okay.
So this really does help it so that the non-technical people can take an active active part in developing the game. A programmer will set up the whole environment, and then lay people and managers alike are able to to get into the level tuning.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, speak for our audience. I know we can't wait for this game to hit PlayStation Network and PS Vita and any other future platforms that it may appear.
Right. Well, thanks, and we're really looking forward to getting it out there. And the feedback from the audience has just been fantastic. Every time we get notes from the existing games or ideas for new games, it really motivates us. And there's a lot of great ideas that your audience has that honestly make it back into our development cycle. So I really do encourage I'm appreciative of the interest and encourage the feedback, and we'd love to hear from you guys, and particularly what games are from our library that are really interesting to you, and what features and platforms are of interest.
Great. Well, hey, Dave, we want to thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks for coming out.